Hello and welcome back once again to product placement. So a while back, end of last year, or no, the year before I should say, I did a video on a new soda from the Pepsi / Mountain Dew company called Starry. Now throughout that video and mostly at the end of that video, I did kind of a history lesson of Pepsi and Mountain Dew's ventures into lemon lime flavored sodas to compete with Sprite. And in that I mentioned that Starry had replaced Sierra Mist. However, I don't think I said why Starry replaced Sierra Mist. I believe I actually found out the reason why after I finished doing that video as I was doing more research. And it's actually kind of a funny story. So I'll tell it to you now because it leads into today's product. So Mountain Dew had Sierra Mist. They've done a couple of different formulations, which you saw at the end of the Starry video. However, a few years ago, there was a social media influencer, I don't remember what platform she was on, whether it was Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, who went by the name Sierra Mist. I don't recall if that was her legal name. I think Sierra might have been, but I think she had Mist as like her online identity. I could be wrong on that, I'd have to look it up. But anyway, she went by the name Sierra Mist. So, as she got more popular on social media, Pepsi / Mountain Dew, in their infinite wisdom, sent her a cease and desist letter saying that she couldn't use the name Sierra Mist because they own the trademark on it and it could cause brand confusion. So she politely wrote them back a letter saying that, first of all, she spells her name differently than they do. Secondly, she's not in the soda industry, so there wouldn't be any brand confusion. And thirdly, she doesn't claim any ties to Pepsi, Mountain Dew, or Sierra Mist. So Pepsi / Mountain Dew's response to this was, we gave you a warning, stop or we're going to take legal action. Well, Sierra, the social media influencer, is not unfamiliar with copyright and trademark laws. So she decided to look up exactly what the trademark entailed because trademarks are only valid on what a company lists as what their industry is. They can list all kinds of things that they might eventually cross over into, but they don't always do that. So I could make a trademark saying, I'm in the business of video games, or documentary series or whatever, and no one could use my trademark in that same realm. They couldn't do it as a documentary, they couldn't do it in any type of film or television, and they couldn't do it in the market of video games, or maybe technically games in general, including board games and such. However, a company like, say, Sony has a trademark on Sony for a wide variety of things. Disney has a trademark on a wide variety of things. So, Sierra, the social media influencer, decided to look up exactly what Mountain Dew / Pepsi's trademark of Sierra Mist actually included, if it was only in food and beverage or if it was a wider variety of things. What she found out was that Mountain Dew / Pepsi no longer owned the trademark to Sierra Mist. They had let it lapse. Trademarks, unlike copyright, are only good for a certain period of time and you have to renew them periodically. Copyrights are good for however long, until like 100 years or so after the initial publication, or possibly 100 years after the original creator's death. There's a couple different ways that copyright law works, but trademark has to be renewed periodically. So she said, well, they don't own the trademark, so she filed for it, and now she owns the trademark. So she sent Pepsi / Mountain Dew back a nicely worded legal letter that said, you in fact do not own the trademark. You let it lapse. I've applied for it. I was approved for it. It is now mine. So I will continue to use my name. Go ahead, take whatever legal action you want to take. I'll see you in court. Pepsi / Mountain Dew immediately sent her back a nice apologetic legal letter offering to buy the trademark back from her and agreeing to let her continue to use the name Sierra Mist because it was outside of their realm of influence, so there wouldn't actually be any brand confusion after all. She basically told them, you made your bed, lay in it, get fucked. So Mountain Dew / Pepsi lost the trademark to Sierra Mist. So they retired Sierra Mist quietly without letting this whole thing be known, because that makes precedence for other people to do the same thing and screws them over in the long run, and corporations don't like being screwed over. Sierra got one up on them, but they don't want that to be public knowledge. So they retired Sierra Mist and came out with Starry. Now, in the history of Starry, I mentioned that they had once been called Team. That went away in favor of Slice. Slice was around for most of the 80s and 90s. Then that made way to Sierra Mist, and then Sierra Mist made its way into Starry. So you may be asking, why didn't they just go back to using Slice? Well, because Pepsi / Mountain Dew sold off the international marketing rights to Slice to another company who wanted to reintroduce the fruit-flavored soda brand to an international market. Pepsi / Mountain Dew still owns the distribution rights to Slice in the United States, but the rest of the world, they would have to be called something else, because another company now owns Sprite. I believe Pepsi does still retain a small percentage of it, so they'll get paid as long as it's being produced, but they don't officially own it anymore on the international market. and Sierra Mist was an international brand, so they can't just go back to Slice. As far as teen, that's been dead since like the 60s, so no one would really remember that. But then there's always the honorable mention that I made at the end of the video, Mountain Dew Ice, which was a lemon lime flavored clear soda, just like Sprite, Slice, Sierra Mist, and so on. So why didn't they go back to that? Well, because that's associated directly with Mountain Dew, and they want their lemon lime soda to be kind of a separate thing from Mountain Dew, which is why Ice went away to begin with. And you can't just call the soda Ice or Ice from the makers of Pepsi, because you might as well just do Mountain Dew Ice again. So they can't just call it Ice, so that's out the window. So they went with Starry. Now, with all that said, several years ago, I actually did a review of Mountain Dew Ice when it first came out. However, shortly after that, I took a hiatus from doing videos, and a lot of products came out that I just didn't do reviews on. I may have bought them and tried them, I just never filmed it or uploaded it. And one of those was Mountain Dew Ice Cherry flavored. Now, the reason I bring up that long-winded story and explanation is because, as I said, it relates to today's product. So, I tried Mountain Dew Ice, I skipped over Mountain Dew Ice Cherry, I tried Starry, and now today's product is the newest in the line of Starry, which is Starry Cherry flavored. So, I'm kind of an idiot. Got all the way to the end of recording this video and realized I never did the overhead shot where you guys see the label up close. I just noticed that this doesn't say cherry at all. It says Cranberry Blizz. So this is not actually cherry flavored. So there you have it. I was completely wrong because it says right here, Starry Cranberry Blizz. There are also, now that I look at it, little pictures of cranberries all over the label. So this is not Cherry Starry, this is Cranberry Starry, and it was most likely released for the holiday season. Although I could have swore there was a cherry one, because this one does have a lighter red at the top and a darker red at the bottom. And I do remember there being an all red label. So I'll have to check at the store again when I go down there. There might actually be a cherry one, and I just ended up grabbing the holiday one that came out, or they might have already pulled the cherry one and put out a cranberry one. I don't know, I'll do a little bit of research and put some details on here, but I made a mistake, I know, but here I am correcting it at the very end. Now, as you can see, this is in a 2-liter bottle. This was the only way I could find it. I've only seen Starry Cherry available at one chain of stores, and it's only been in 2 liters. It hasn't been in a 20 ounce. It hasn't been in a case. I have not seen it at any other stores. I searched around before I decided to buy this, but I finally broke down and bought it in 2-liter because I don't know how long it's going to be here. Mountain Dew Ice Cherry flavored went away relatively quickly. I'm honestly not even sure if I actually got around to trying it when it was out because it came and went so fast. So I didn't want to sleep on this one and end up missing it. So I did search for a little bit, but eventually went back and got it. Unfortunately, this 2-liter cost me nearly $5. Prices are getting ridiculous. They did have it on sale as a buy 2, get 1 free, so had I bought 2 more Pepsi products, I could have got this as my free third item. However, that would have cost me like nearly $12 for the 3 versus just spending what I spent on this one. So I did pay quite a bit for this. Hopefully it's worth it, but prices are getting ridiculous. I was going to buy a bag of Doritos the other day, and Doritos are up to like $8 a bag now. I can still get any other brand of Lay's or Ruffles or whatever for around $3 to $4. Doritos is up to almost $8 a bag. And the bags are still half filled with air. If you're going to raise your price up that much, I want double the amount. Fill that damn bag up. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, got this in the 2-liter. A little irritated that I had to pay so much for it. A little irritated that it wasn't a buy 1 get 1 sale. It was a buy 2 get 1 sale, because if it had been buy 1 get 1, I would have grabbed a second 2-liter and ended up paying like half the price of what I actually ended up paying for it. Or I would have saved at least like $1 or $2 on it. But anyway, we got it now, so we're going to try it. I don't have a glass here because I'm the only person who lives here. I'm the only one who's going to be drinking this, so I will drink directly out of the bottle because I don't have guests that I share it with either. So this is what we're doing today. It's been a little over a year since I did Starry, so I'm trying to remember exactly what that tastes like and if this is going to have more of a cherry flavor or not. But let's crack it open and see what we think. We're going to start with the smell test. Definitely a hint of cherry there. Smells like there's something else there too. Not just the citrusy smell of the lemon, lime, and cherry, but almost a very faint hint of that chalky scent that I normally get from the blue sodas. But it's not heavy. It's just like, it could almost be the cherry that I'm smelling that's giving it that scent. But yeah, I'm mostly just getting cherry, but there's a little undertone of something there that I can't quite place. Maybe like a pomegranate or like a grenadine type of thing. Not really sure. Anyway, I've been talking long enough and haven't even tried it yet. So let's get on with this. We're going to take a drink and I'll let you know what I think. Cheers. That doesn't exactly taste like cherry. I'm trying to remember exactly what Starry tasted like. I remember it being very similar to Sprite, and this is very similar to Sprite, but there is an additional taste to it. But I'm not getting cherry. I'm getting almost like kind of a chalky flavor. But it's not heavy. It's just kind of, there's something else here. Like after you get the lemon lime flavor that you would get from a Sprite or Starry, it's like something else is lingering on my palate, but it's not enough of an overriding flavor to identify. It might be more along the lines of a black cherry or like a tart cherry. It's not really tart though. It does have a slight dryness to it at the end, but it's not tart. It's not like sour or face puckering or anything like that. It's just like there's something here that's sort of drying out my mouth, but the lemon lime of the Starry itself is keeping my palate moisturized. Like the very back part of my tongue feels like it's swimming in saliva, where the front part of my tongue almost feels dry. Like I just ate a chalk-based candy like Sweet Tarts or something. So yeah, overall it's not bad, but I don't get any cherry flavor out of it. I definitely get more of a cherry smell from it than I do a flavor. But for the most part, it kind of just tastes like regular Starry, but there is a little something extra there. But not enough to put me off from it. I actually like this. I'm not as upset now that I paid as much as I did for this 2-liter because I will be able to drink it. I will be able to finish it. I'm not throwing it out. I just keep imagining that I'll get to a point where I'm forced to buy a 2-liter or something and it ends up being something gross like Spark or Flaming Hot where I just can't drink it and end up dumping it out, because then I would be mad that I spent as much as I did on a 2-liter just to dump it down the drain. So this one I won't be dumping out. I will be finishing this. Do I like this better than regular Starry? From what I remember, I probably like regular Starry slightly more because it doesn't have that somewhat chalk aftertone that lingers on my tongue. Starry was just kind of real refreshing and mellow. This is refreshing and mellow, but it has that little bit of aftertaste. So, I like it, but I'd probably stick to the regular. I have talked for way longer than I need to for what should have essentially been a couple-minute video of me tasting this, but I had to tell you the backstory in case I didn't put it in the other video. So yeah, not really much else to say about it other than that. That is Starry Cranberry Blizz. I made a mistake and said it was cherry when it wasn't, so that whole rambling at the beginning is pointless. Me talking about how it didn't taste like cherry, obviously, and that tart kind of chalky flavor I was talking about most likely comes from cranberries because cranberries are sort of dry and tart. I also just noticed looking at this again that I got the zero sugar version, and zero sugar versions of lemon lime sodas like Sprite or whatever do also kind of have a somewhat chalky aftertaste. So it could be the cranberry, it could be the zero sugar, or it could be a combination of the two. Either way, ignore basically everything I said in here except it's okay. I don't normally like cranberry flavored things, but this one's okay. I would try this one again next holiday season if that's when it's going to be coming out. Just to ramble on a little bit longer, when I originally saw this in the 2-liter form at the store, there was another product also in 2-liter form that I wanted to get. I've been searching for that one as well in a 20-ounce, can't find it. And after doing a little bit of research online, I found that it's only available in 2-liter and 12-pack. So when I went to get this, I was going to buy that one as well to do it as the next video. They were out of stock on it at the time, so I wasn't able to get it. So my next video, instead of being the other 2-liter that I was going to do, will most likely be the next product on the list until I can get back to the store to see if they got it back in stock or not. Hopefully they do, because I really want to try it and hopefully I didn't miss it. But from what I'm seeing online, it's still available. They were just out of stock on it. There are a couple other locations near me that it says carry it as well. So I'll have to go check those if it's not available at this one. But hopefully I can get that one in. But in the meantime, where you would have normally saw a second 2-liter video after this one, you'll probably see a different product. But if I find it, I will circle back around to it. So that is it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are in the description. Ring the bell. Make sure you get notifications every time I post new content. And until next time, cheers.